And we also feed with 2 million tons of food that we have sent and enabled to be sent to the civilian population in Gaza. You know of any other army who sends millions of tons of food to the population of its enemy, population in enemy territory? Find me an example. It would be interesting to find out. And Israel is accused of starvation policy. The only starvation policy that is real is the one that Hamas is practicing against our hostages. And you just saw the image of these poor hostages, I mean, completely emaciated. And you see the arm of one of his captors, and very corpulent, very corpulent. And Ambassador Huckabee in Israel, the great American ambassador that we have here, he said the one thing that these captors need is an overdose of Ozempic because they're getting fat. So this is horrible. Israel brings food, millions of tons of food to the Palestinian population, accused of starvation. Israel going out of its way to have the civilian population removed from the battle zones, accused of genocide. It's completely false.
Do you think the world has forgotten history? Because, of course, at the end of the Second World War, the Allies who took over Nazi Germany found a German population that had been starved, again, not by the Allies, but by their own leaders who had diverted all of the food and resources to the war effort. There were shortages in the former Nazi Germany for years thereafter. And then, of course, they began the rebuilding. But as you point out, Israel is probably the only country in the world that's been required to feed its enemy during wartime. Why is there this double standard? Because it does seem that these totalitarian regimes, whether Nazi Germany or Hamas today, they do deprive their own populations because they're so fanatical about pressing on to victory even when they face defeat. Why is the world now essentially on the verge of victory for Israel and the West and for civilization in general? Why is the world deciding that Israel is somehow deserving of moral condemnation?
One is the ease in which the mainstream media have bought the Hamas lies. And I think it's also the fact that many Western leaders have not shown the strength and rectitude that President Trump has shown. He just doesn't buy this. And not only does he not buy this, he stands by Israel because he knows we're fighting your enemy. He knows that our victory will be your victory. In fact, he joined us in the main counterattack against sort of the head of this octopus, Iran. And I think his action is historic because it showed that America is back. America is not going to let a regime that chants death to America develop nuclear weapons to achieve that goal. But I think that many other leaders in the West have not shown this strength. In fact, because they have radical Islamist minorities in their countries, they're basically balking. They're basically trying to appease them. And you know what Churchill said, appeasement doesn't work because you try feeding the crocodile with slabs of meat, usually other people's meat, and then you run out of it and the crocodile will eat you. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to run away from radical Islam, but they don't realize that when they sacrifice Israel, the crocodile will go after them. It'll go after our Arab neighbors who are not radical, and then go after Europe, and then go after the United States. President Trump understands this, and I think the fact that we have this fantastic partnership in thought and action is one of the ways that we prevent this catastrophe from happening.